Hope you learned from the trend or the change of trends video you had. So today we're going to be talking about trend line. Trend line is trend lines. Trend lines, it's just the way you all see it on the trend on the chart. The lines we draw to identify the trend of the market, and then so that you can be able to ride along with the trend safely. So, but let's do a little bit of uh, reading on it. It said trend lines are angled lines that can be drawn on a price chart, connecting swing lows and other swing lows, or swing highs and other swing highs. Occasionally, a trend line might connect both swing high and the swing low. Technical traders draw trend line because they expect them to become pivotal points when the price next reaches them, giving an opportunity at that moment to enter a high probability, high reward to risk ratio trade. Most trend lines are typically drawn with the expectation of being used to enter a reversal trade, but they can also be used to identify a trade and a breakout. So let's look at this, what we just read. So this is it. They say, well, a trend line connects what? Swing lows to swing lows to swing lows to swing lows, right? To swing lows to swing lows. This is what it's trying to say. The trend line connects what? Swing lows to other swing lows, right? This is what it's trying to say. Then also say that the trend line connects what? Swing highs to other swing high. So this is a trend line. So it's just connecting those swing points, those higher highs and higher lows we learned earlier. It's just for you to use that line, that tool, to connect them. That is when it becomes a relevant trend line. You have to use it to connect them, right? So it's also occasionally the trend line can connect a swing high, some swing lows, and a swing high, or swing highs and swing lows together. Like particular trend line, which is one of it, can connect both sides, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Then you extend this a little bit. Now, this has been connecting swing lows, right? Because I've been connecting higher lows. Now it connected the what? A lower high. So it has been connecting swing lows, and now it has a swing high on it. So that's what I'm trying to say. Occasionally it connects what? A swing high with swing lows. That is like when the trend changes. So when the trend breaks, it breaks the trend line, not changes though. When it changes, it has to break a previous bottom. You all should remember that from the previous video. Then they said they are pivotal point. You know what pivot means in English, right? Or mathematics, or what? Physics. So when you say pivot, it's just like turning point. You see, whenever it comes to the trend line, it reverses. Whenever it comes to the trend line, it reverses. Comes to the trend line, it reverses. You understand? That's what they mean by pivotal point. That's a pivot. Pivot, I think pivot, that word pivot is kind of used for things that has a sharp edge, or kind of, turning point, you know that English. So there are essentially two types of trend lines. A bullish trend line or a bearish trend line, which is a downtrend and uptrend. So let's go through that one here. You see bullish. You guys know when the market is bullish, creating higher highs and higher lows. So these are bullish trend lines because what? They are ascending, they are going up. So they are bullish trend lines. Then for a bearish trend line, they're connecting lower highs, they're connecting highs to lower highs to lower highs, and lows to lower lows and lower lows, right? So this is a bearish trend line. This is practically a bearish trend line, from the up to the down. This is from down to the up. So it's simple English, So it says, so these are what guidelines for you to draw a trend line and know when the trend line is impactive or not. So it said you need a minimum of 2 touches to draw a trend line. Let me not say a trend line, or let me just say a trend line. Let me say a valid trend line, because you can draw anything on the chart and it's a trend line. So a valid trend line need minimum of 2 touches. It has to be 2 or more. You understand? 2 or more. You can't just have just one pivotal point and then you call it a trend line. It can't work. It has to connect 2 or more touches. You understand? So it's easy. I said current trend lines place out first in an ascending order. That is a little bit of top-down analysis. We're going to talk about that in the future. So if you have this, you see this is a trend line, right? Now the trend line approach here, we know that after approaching the trend line, it has to come back to the other trend line, right? But if you look inside it, trends, that's why I said this is what we're going to do in the future. This is a trending trend. So we know that the current one has to play out first. And the current one here is this little man I've drawn inside the big trend. So it played out first to the downside. You see, it was it that broke out first before we approach this man. So the current one plays out first. We're going to talk about more of this when we do top-down analysis, when we teach you practically our trading strategy. So he said, I'm going to talk about this when we talk about evolve. So let's skip that. They said the more symmetric the more symmetrical the price movement in both time and price, the more both time and price that are being connected, the more objective the trend line. You know the word objective. When something is objective, then it is against, right? It's objecting you from getting what you want. It's objecting you from what you are saying. Objection, my lord, is objecting, right? So when they say you connect too much symmetrical price movement between time and price, when the price movement is too symmetrical, you know what symmetrical is? Yeah, triangles, symmetrical triangle, and all of that. So when the price is too symmetric, then the trend line is what? Objecting the trend. You understand? So let's go through that. Symmetric, this is it. This kind of symmetric. You see, it's kind of like up, going up. It's not because it's trending up that it's symmetric. What's making it symmetric is that it is too tight. It is too tight. And then it also came from there, and then running to the upside. He ascended up and ran to the upside. That is what makes it symmetric. It's then what we read there is saying that it is objective. Objective in the sense that the trend is likely to change. When the market is running in the same direction it imposed to, change of the direction is very, very likely to happen, right? That's what that statement means. So we said the steeper the trend line, the lower the quality it is to be. It's likely to be, right? Conversely, the gentler the slope. This is saying the same thing, but you know the word steep is different from the word symmetric. You understand? So when they say trend line is steep, this is practically steep. What we do, you see the way it is kind of too tight, it's steep. When they say something is steep, you won't literally know where you can't. It's not the highs and lows inside of it is not clear, or the highs and lows connecting they're not really clear. That's when it's steep. And when it's steep, it's also objective. No, it's steep, but it's kind of floating down, so you know it's in a downtrend. But it's likely what is in English? You said the steeper trend line, the low quality it is. You understand? The low quality, that means when the trend line, well, you know, it's either a ascending trend line or a descending trend line, right? So when the trend line is too steep, the lower the quality. If it's a descending trend line, then it is steep. Its quality is supposed to be descending, like going down. But when it is too steep, it loses that quality. That means it has to change to the upside or change to the opposite. That's what it means. Then this is simple, drawing the trend line is kind of easy. That's why I'm going through it so fast. You see, now I say I'm going to talk about the number 3 when I talk about 6, right? You say if a trend line is hit and subsequently can be subsequently readjustable to better fit its touches, do not hesitate to readjust and redraw the trend line. Evolve. Then this number 3 is what? If the price has seriously violated the trend line since the minimum of 2 touches was made, it is no longer a valid trend line. So only draw what has not been invalidated by more than. You understand? It's kind of saying the same thing. When it is hit and then when it is invalidated, they are saying the same thing. Look at this place. In the initials, this is a trend line, right? This is a swing high, this is another swing high, so we connect them. Now, we had this swing low, so we are waiting for this to come down, and then it came down, give us another connection, right? So we're waiting for this to create a touch on this trend line, but it didn't. What happened? If you extend the trend line, it broke through it. It broke through it, right? But when it broke through it, the market broke back into the trend. So what happened? You have to evolve, redraw the whole thing, remove down from there and redraw it to cater for the current one that we have. That's why it's trying to say that when it has violated since minimum of 2 touches, you have to withdraw. That's why it's trying to say that when it hits, and subsequently readjustable, it's better to fit it touch it. Do not hesitate to readjust and withdraw the trend line. So this is like you readjusted it from this ends to this end. You understand? That is readjusting, that is refitting. You understand? That is evolving. So you evolve the market the way it goes. Evolving is like, growing with it, getting used to. So that is evolving. You evolve the trend line to get used to the market itself. So from there we are what? Number 7. If a parallel trend line can be drawn either above or below a trend line at similar ascending or descending angle, you have a price channel. And if you are trading with the trend, you have an obvious place both to exit and to enter, right? They say if a parallel trend line can be drawn above or below a similar one. Now this is a trend line, right? This is below it, but they are similar. They are all going to the same direction, so it becomes a price channel. That's what it's trying to see. So when you have price channel, you know what you know exactly when to enter and when to get out. When to enter and when to get out. That's what it's trying to say. When to enter and when to get out. That's what it's trying to say. When you have a price channel, you say if a parallel trend line can be drawn either above or below a similar ascending or descending angle, you have a price channel. So this is a price channel. This is also a price channel. So you know when to enter, when to get out, when to enter, and when to send it to get out. When you'll be holding this hopefully for you to get out when it comes to third touch. But those people trading the support and resistance without the trend lines, they don't know that they're supposed to get out here. They'll be targeting a double top or a double bottom, and then for them to buy. But you see the trend line will break through to these ends before buying. You understand? I'll teach you more of how people get liquidated in the market as time goes on as well. This is just the basics and the intro. This is part of what our fundamental series. So the 8th is said, always draw trend line on the candle wicks, not the body. Do not draw your trend line on the body. You understand? Do not draw a trend line through the body of the candle. It should be at the tip of the candle. Look at this place. This is also helping you to evolve. You understand? If we were going to have something like this, yeah, it could have gone, right? Because you actually faked that came in, but you drew it on what? On the body. This is touching bodies of the candles, not the wick. So you have to take it to the wick. And by the time you take it to the wick, this man is left void. And this is looking like an impulse. So you take what? From there, place it right there, and then you will redraw it. Make sure they are on the wick, not the body. Now this is another one. This is clearly on top of the wick, not on the wick. You understand? So this is like on top of the wick or crossing between the wick. So you have to make sure you evolve it to be on top of the wick. Cater for the market as perfect as you can. It should be on top of the wick, not on the body. Another one, I think it should be on this leg or on this pattern. No, you bro. Oh, no, you. Should be on this. If you look at this very well, we have some fake out a little bit here. So here, you see this place? If we were going to draw this like this, so that we can have more touches here, 1, 2, 3, right? We have more touches, but you see, it's on the body. You see that on the body. So we had to evolve it to be on the wick. Now I know it's tapped this one, but this is correct. It had to be on the wick, right? So he said the third touch of a trend line is the most impactful touch. When they say something is impactful, it's like it has a lot of importance. Yeah, it has a lot of importance when they say something is impactful. So if you notice on the trend lines, we had an ascending channel. We know that when it is symmetric, the trend line loses its power, right? So that is another information you have gathered from the market. Now it is symmetric, so we know that it's losing its power. So dropping down against the trend is very, very possible to happen. Now we have how many touches here? 1. We count this as a touch 2 because when he left here, he came back there. You understand? 1, 2, 1, 2. Then the third touch. This is very impactful. I don't count this. I'll let you know later on. I don't count this because of this. We went, didn't touch it, he came back. Then before he started going there, so it's not really relevant. So the ones that touches are very close. This is also kind of far. You see how far it is, so it's not relevant. So it is 1, 2, and 3. So this is the third touch, which is very, very impactful. And you see what its impact was. It broke what? It broke through. It broke through the trend and changed the whole trend. That is very, very impactful. That is very, very impactful. Now, if you look at this current trend we have, this current downtrend we are having, We also are looking to get an impactive touch right now, I think. 1, 2, you see that? Now, once again, I don't count these to be 2 touches. These are all 1 touch, because when the market came down towards the trend line, it only went up a little. It didn't go to the trend line, other trend line above. It was here, then it drop again, then go. So the 2 of them here are 1 touch. So we are expecting the 3rd touch. And now, since you have understood that when the trend line is steep or symmetric, then the trend line is getting false, is getting objective. So the objection is to what? Take us back to the uptrend. So when he has a 3rd touch, right? So when it's very impactful here, the trend line is steep. That's another reason for you to know that when you get here, you have to look for buy, right? So, like I always say, what you do on your own drives you or is the vehicle that take you to the what? Success. I'm High Zaida. Thanks for watching.